Okay, we're now recording, so.
Okay, good. So first of all, thanks for organizing this, John.
No.
Very, very happy to meet with users at any time and talk about genealogy. So I've been on the road quite a bit with Makiev, and I'm part of a presentation where a couple of other people talk about Family Tree Maker and so on. And this is a very interesting topic. Now, it's a PowerPoint presentation, which actually allows it to be more smooth and effective. I will demonstrate the program later, but and so what I try to do is explain to people the benefit of the DNA matrix. So by putting everything in the context. So let me see here. I'm going to see if I can keep a view of everybody in case there's questions or whatever. Shrink my screen here. Okay, right. So, oh, I guess that's not, yeah, okay. No, you want to see the screen as big as possible. Okay, so you know the routine. You either spit in the vial or swab your cheek and you send the sample in. No chuckles, nothing? Okay. So what happens is if you've tested that ancestry, for example, when you get your test results back, you log in and you see all your matches, right? But those matches, you know, it's tedious. You got to click on them one by one to display how much DNA you share. It's not very satisfactory. So what I recommend people do is you elect to download your DNA, your raw DNA results. You can do that. They don't make it easy, but you can have Ancestry send you the raw testing results in the form of a spreadsheet, okay? So step one, you download the raw DNA. And you don't have to worry about what's in it. It's incomprehensible. It's about all a bunch of A, T, C's, and G's. Step two, you upload that raw DNA file that you got from Ancestry. You upload it to GEDmatch. They're a matching service, and they will match your DNA against millions of other people, okay? And what they do is they then send you a list of people with whom you share DNA, your matches. Some of them will be your immediate relatives that you already know about. Others will be more distant relatives, people that you've never heard of. Now, what you do at GEDmatch, once they've done the matching, you download a CSV match file, comma separated value. It's a list of people with their names, email addresses, and where exactly you share DNA, which chromosome, and what length. So I don't know if you can see this here. There's chromosome number 1.
We can't see your screen right now.
You can't see my screen at all. Oh, did I forget to share the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. How silly of me. No wonder you weren't laughing at the joke. I'm sorry. You should have interrupted me right away. Okay, let me back up for a minute here. Yes, okay. minor detail here. Okay, so back up. I get carried away and absent-minded. Okay, so what I'm doing here is explaining, giving you the context, right?
Yeah.
You see the lady spitting in the tube there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, even when you see it, you're not laughing. Okay, fine. So as I described, when you log into Ancestry and you display your matches, anybody recognize this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to click on each name and display the DNA one at a time, which is tedious. So the steps then is you go to Ancestry and you download your raw DNA, and this is what it looks like, just incomprehensible, just a bunch of A's, C, T's, and G's, but it doesn't matter. So once you've downloaded your raw DNA, you then upload it to GEDmatch, and GEDmatch will match you against millions of other people. And here's a sample of a match. You have 2 people here, kit number A873018, matches kit A111111, whoops. And they match on several chromosomes. They match on chromosome number 1, see, for 281 centimorgans. Do you see that?
Yep.
Chromosome number 2, they match on 264, and so on. A lot of matches. Very close relationship. Okay? So that is what you get from GEDmatch. Now, again, this is, you don't have to look into the details of this stuff. This file, the CSV match file, that's what you feed to Charting Companion. Charting Companion will summarize it for you. Now, Hillary, Joe, and Nancy, are you familiar with this chart?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, as you know, it shows the amount of centimorgans shared between two people. So what Charting Companion does is it takes this chart and combines it with your family tree. And it compares the DNA that you got versus the DNA that you would expect from the relationship. You see, it ties the two together. Very, very unique. So what happens, I'm going to skip this, you know, this stuff here. Okay, so here is an example of something that happened to me here. How do I maximize window? I thought F11 maximized it. View, full screen, Control L, of course. Okay, yeah. So here's a typical tree, okay? Now, all right, now here's my family tree, okay? I apologize boring you with my genealogy, but do you see Alfred Moss at the top there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my grandfather and 4 of his daughters, okay? Ruby, Ethel, Bernice, Dot, and their children, me and my cousins. Now, the way, this is a DNA matrix. The way it works, if you're not familiar with it, if you start with a person and you follow the blue line, underneath every other person, I call the intersection, at the intersection is the amount of DNA that they share and their relationship. So Bernice here is the sister of Jacques. And according to the DNA test of GEDmatch, they share 2,436 centimorgans. Now, what that means is that the 100% means that when 2 people share that much DNA, then 100% of the time they are brothers and sisters, siblings, okay? So you continue along the blue line, and under Bernice's blue line, where Bernice's blue line extends under Anne, that's another sister, and they share 2766, which is very high, which is typical of brothers and sisters 100% of the time. And of course, Jacques and Anne share 2986. They're all share DNA. But if you then follow Bernice's line under her cousins, they only share 557 centimorgans. That's typical of cousins. It's still possible that 2 people are first cousins, but it only happens 11% of the time. Now, if we jump to Jacques, if we take Jacques, for example, and follow his blue line, he only shares 443 with Jean-Guy, which is typical 1% of the time. That's very low. And it gets worse. If you extend Jacques' line under his cousin Louise, he's down to 319. You see how it's in red there?
Yeah.
You see the red?
Yeah.
No.
It means that the 319 is outside the range for first cousins. There's a contradiction here. This family tree says that Jacques and Louise are first cousins, but the DNA says, you ain't. So something's out of whack, and it's not a fluke. Look at that. Jacques and me are out of whack. Jacques and our cousin Paul are out of whack. And the other 2, they are outside the range or consistently very, very low probability, 2%, 4%. Something is completely wrong with this chart. So, and by the way, the genealogy is based on unimpeachable documents. Look at that. This is an official birth certificate from the provincial government. This is like our states, our provinces is like your states. And it says right there, Ruby Moss, daughter of Alfred Moss. So it doesn't get more authentic than that, right? Well, it turns out that my grandmother had a colored past, which is interesting because she was a very prim and proper Victorian lady, born in Victorian England, Victorian Scotland. It turns out that my grandmother had a relationship before she met and married my grandfather, Alfred. she had a daughter, Ruby, from another man. And we never knew about this. And the poor thing would be rolling in her grave if she knew. So what it means is that my Aunt Ruby is not my aunt, she's my half aunt. And her children, Bernice, Jacques, and Anne, are my half cousins. And guess what? If we rebuild the tree according to this, all the red has gone. You see? Jacques and I, we still share 371 centimorgans, but because we are now half cousins, that is true of half cousins 59% of the time. And you see all the red's gone because this is the true tree, which is quite interesting. And by the way, I hasten to emphasize that I have nothing but gratitude and respect and affection for my grandmother, because if she had done anything different, for sure I wouldn't be here today. So we all had a very good, so this is an example of how you use Charting Companion. It is a way of proving your tree, corroborating the DNA with the genealogy, making sure they're consistent. Now, I'm sure none of you have skeletons like this in your closet.
I'm
I'd
hoping
love to have a
discover
skeleton.
What's that? You
I'd
think you
love
have,
to-
I hope
you
to
have,
discover one.
do you have skeletons like this in your closet? Nobody has any skeletons like that in their
Well,
closet.
we've got one. My dad supposedly had a daughter when he was married to my mother with someone else,
Oh,
hoping
I see.
at some point she or her descendants will do the DNA.
for sure. Yeah, I got some half brothers, sisters. So that's interesting. So, of course, we all had a good chuckle about that. And as a matter of fact, interesting story here, Ruby had 4 children, 4, not 3. There's one of the children called Andre who refused to participate in the test. So, you know, I couldn't force him. Plus, I had a lot of other kids. But I met him at a family reunion last year, and I said, Andre, you know, what's the deal? I mean, are you upset or insulted because I discovered some irregularities in your ancestry? He said, no, that's not the problem. So I said, well, why don't you share your DNA? Well, can you guess why? As a young man, he was somewhat prolific, if you know what I mean. He was a ladies' man. He knew and consorted with many a young lady. So his point was that if there were any offspring out there, he did not want to be contacted by them.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, I understand. That makes sense. However, the cat's out of the bag, right?
Yeah.
His siblings' DNA is out there. If he's got some non-parental events, they're going to show up.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that you can do with the. Any questions on that?
Thanks, Pierre. That's really brilliant because I've seen that part of the chart and couldn't understand how it works. And I haven't seen the red in there before. So you really explained that well. That comes together. Thank you.
Good. Excellent. I've seen some huge, John, I've seen some incredible trees. John, you must have about, what, 30 people in a tree?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've in my main tree. I mean, I've identified more than like 200 DNA matches, and
Wow. That's a
That's
thing of
not
beauty.
what I have.
but
Facebook.
I've also got some extended branches and stuff, and I've got 2 kits processing right now. One of which is my grand aunt, so I'm really excited to see her matches. So
That's cool. That's a real coup. So there's some huge trees with some amazing DNA matrices. So now Charting Companion can also do another trick. It's called a DNA simulation. And the way it works is that it's used by people either who are orphans and they've found their biological family, or conversely, you are the member of a biological family and an orphan has contacted you. And what happens is they know that they share DNA with you, but they have no idea where they fit in the family. Okay? I see somebody just joined us here.
Bernie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So So usually when that happens, you have to, by trial and error, you try to fit that orphan in various parts of the tree, and it can be very, very complicated. It could take months. So what Charting Companion allows you to do is, providing that you have DNA kits that match the orphan to your family group, you can get Charting Companion to run through a process where it's going to try to fit the orphan in every possible part of the tree real fast. So you pick an ancestor, you do a descendant chart, and then you choose the descendant, and you click on a button, and Charting Companion begins to try to fit the orphan. And every time, so using this DNA matrix process, which can validate or invalidate a tree, you fit the orphan in the tree, then you calculate all the DNA matrix relationship. And if there are no red flags, if all the relationships are feasible, then we save a copy of that tree for you to examine later. And then we proceed to move the orphan to another possible place. So you can see, can you see the purple or fuchsia rectangle here?
Mhm.
You see that? Okay, what we did here is we took an orphan and we started attaching him, making him the son of everybody in the tree, one at a time. And every time we connect him as a hypothetical son, we say, okay, now what does that mean? It means that so-and-so is a cousin, so-and-so is an aunt. Is that consistent with the DNA? And if it's not, we say, no, he couldn't possibly be there. You see how that works? Very sophisticated process. And every time we find a possible match, then we save it. And then what you do at that point, you then take the results and you say, oh, you've got him the son of Uncle Albert. Albert was in California at the time, and this guy was born in Massachusetts. That's not going to fly. So you discard that. Of course, Albert could have been traveling, but, and so on. You know what I'm saying? And not only do we do that, but we're very thorough. There's an option to invent mistresses for your grandfather. You know what I'm saying? So the child may not have been the child of your grandfather or the grandmother, but what if your grandfather had had a relationship on the side? So that puts a whole new slant on the DNA calculation. So we insert this hypothetical mistress, and then we affix the orphan, and we see if the DNA shakes out. And we save all these scenarios. And we can go many generations as well. And it's not just the men, of course, we invent, relationships for your grandmothers and so on. And so we save all of those and then, present them to you, and you can then push the evaluation further. So it's very exciting, and it saves you, weeks and months of work to do this. It's very tedious. So, and it will even examine the most absurd possible relationships, things that you would dismiss because it's infeasible, but that might hold the key to the relationship. And because it's done automatically, it happens in minutes. So it's, computing time is not an issue. And so do you understand a little bit how that works?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
All right. So if you're approached by any orphans, you can use this bag of tricks here. And then another, so it was the idea I got from Facebook. And we got a lot of, look, this, do you know Blaine Bettinger?
Yeah, he's great. Been to a lot of this.
Even Blaine Bettinger commented on this, so that was kind of cool. I met him at Roots Tech, and here are some. Look, there's the man himself commenting. Look at these charts, isn't that exciting? That's pretty powerful. Look at all these kits. So that is, and there's one more thing that Charting Companion does here that I want to show you. It is called the DNA. It's a way of organizing your DNA contacts. Now, let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, it's on the desktop. Okay, presentation. And here we go. It's a spreadsheet. So one of the challenges when you're working with this technology is that, oh crap, Excel is really dumb. It doesn't automatically open files anymore. I have to right click. Anybody, do you know this trick on Windows? If you hold down the Shift key and you right click on a file, you can do something, copy as path, right there, copy as path. So now the whole drive directory and the name is in the clipboard. Do any of you know this trick? No?
No,
I
I
do
didn't
now.
know that.
It's very, okay, so I'll do it one more
Sure.
time. Hold down the Shift key, okay? Hold down the Shift key and right click. You've got things like, if it were a program, okay, it would say run as administrator here. But down here, where, you know, towards the bottom, copy as path. Very, very useful. I use that many times a day. Now, where it's useful is if I'm in Excel, I say Control O for open. I can just presto, I can just paste the name. You see how that worked?
No.
Except it's got a link in here. Oh, it's a link. Okay. There we go. Oh, what is your problem here? Okay, there it is. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so here is a spreadsheet. So one of the options, one of the things that you can output from Charting Companion is a spreadsheet called the DNA matches. Now, I have an annotated version of this that maybe is a little bit easier to follow. Just give me 1 second here, see if I can find it. Artwork, okay, a presentation, view, icons. Oh, darn. No. Okay, it's somewhere else. All right, doesn't matter. Okay, so, okay, over on the left here, you see this section here? Those are people in my database. They're my cousins, my aunts, and my aunts. Those are the people that I know how I'm related to them, okay? Across the top here, in this yellowish row, you see that?
Yeah.
Those are my matches, people that I match to. And you know what that's like? When you get a list of matches, you will get hundreds and hundreds of people who match you with like 50 centimorgans or 10 centimorgans. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay. So those could be very interesting people. Okay. So like John, when you found the link to your grandfather, Obert, how many centimorgans did you match with that person? Do you remember?
It was in like the 300.
Okay, that's a lot.
330.
Okay.
Well, it was a half first cousin, so.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, it's a lot.
And I mean,
Good,
I had
good.
some initially closer or more distant ones, but it was with that. But it was with the half first cousin that since closed the deal, so to speak.
Good, okay. So you've got cousins on the left and distant matches on the top, okay? People that I should email and, you know, hope they'll reply. And at the intersection of the row and the column is the amount of DNA that they share, you see? Okay, so now these are family groups. These three people here are cousins, okay? They're the Charlebois family. These three people are brothers and sisters. They're the Dano family. There's me, the Clouthier part of the family, and there's Paul, the Clermont part. So there's four sisters, 4 family clusters, okay? So now, if you take a look at this guy here, Monel Lavoie. So you can see that, I'm going to color them here. Here's the, I'm just going to color this bunch here. Okay. So these are the blue will be the Charlebois. And I'll color the Danos, whoops, pink. Me, I'll color green. And my cousin Paul, I will color what's left. Purple, mauve. Okay, you see that? Now, that highlights it better. Okay, so take this guy right here. Now you'll see that this person shares DNA with the Charlevoix branch, right? 13th centimorgan, shares DNA with the Dano and the Clouthiers and none with the Clermont. So that person is probably related to me on my Scottish grandmother's side, right? Now let's say I'm one of these three people here, and I'm looking after my mysterious unknown grandfather, okay? Where do I start with this group of people? Well, all these people here, not very interesting, because they share across the board. So they're not unique to the Charlevoix. They're unique to the other families. So they're not going to be probably a very useful avenue of research. However, look at this guy here, SLW, right? Call him W. Look at that. They share 54 centimorgans with the Charlevoix, but 0 with the Dano, 0 with me, 0 with Clermont. That's interesting. That indicates that there's a higher probability that this guy's connected over on the Charlevoix side, the mysterious missing grandfather. Know what I mean? Do you understand that?
No.
Interesting.
And there's another one here. My wife Wanda's feeding the chipmunks. She tripped on a tray. Okay, look at this guy here. Row AB, again, another one. Completely different person, exclusively Charlevoix. No Clouthier, no Dano, no Clermont. That is really cool. And here's another one. So the point here is that by the way, this was created by Charting Companion. By exercising the DNA match, option, and spitting out a spreadsheet like that, it organizes your matches and makes it a little bit more manageable. So instead of wasting time contacting those people, if I were researching, I'd jump right on this guy and the others. This guy, this guy. You see what I mean? And there's another one right there. Isn't this exciting? So if you're in this boat where you've got a cornucopia of matches that you want to contact, then, and there's a particular branch you're interested in, this will allow you to focus on that branch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any, is that's very, it's a lot of material to dump on you. It's very confusing, but
No, it's very clear. It's really great.
yeah, good. Okay, good. Glad you saw that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stop there and open it up to questions. Now, are you all users, Charting Companion users?
Try to
Nancy?
be.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. So you all know, of course,
Yeah.
how to launch it, plugins, and I've been working on the Mac version for a year and a half, and it's going to be also a plugin. It's going to launch from a Family Tree Maker, just like this. So there's my adventurous Scottish grandmother, the one with the unknown association. I wish I could have. Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
She's
pretty.
gorgeous.
Interestingly, her sister went to Australia. There
Oh,
are
there you are.
about 75 Australian offspring, and I've had the pleasure of contacting them and meeting them. And yeah, as a matter of fact, Hillary, you might recognize the names here. I'm going to do a quick descendant chart with Violet. I met her, and you might maybe it's a completely different part of the country. Sorry, what's going on here?
I'm just north of Sydney myself, halfway between
Yeah.
Sydney and Newcastle.
This is funny. I'm not getting any place names. Print place names. Ah, okay. Sorry, I'm lean on the names here. Elmore, Victoria. Right. So Violet died in Yallourn. Have you heard of that? No?
Yes, I have. Yep.
And Victoria and, oh, I'm sorry, I'm lean on the geography. I thought I had more names here. Nope. Okay, that's not really useful. I've got the names, but I didn't enter them, sorry. And an interesting, Lynn, well, it's not apparent today, but that woman is this twin, absolute twin image of my French-Canadian cousin, Louise. It doesn't show so much there, but as a young woman, she was spitting image. So there's a lot of options, a lot of features. You may not have had a chance or the patience or the time to explore all of them. As you know, when you're doing a descendant chart, you have many options for the layout. You can do top down with the spouses on the same level. Okay, so this is what most people expect. I find it's kind of confusing because as soon as you wind up with more than like that, see?
Yeah.
So here you have a lot of, that's what most people expect. The problem is if you have, here's my cousin Jean Guy. He's got, you can move these around, eh? He's got 2 spouses. So it's okay as long as there's only 1 or 2 spouses, but as soon as there's 3 spouses, then, you know, you got spouses connected to spouses. It's kind of confusing. The other thing is that this type of chart, you know, the descendant chart, it's one of its characteristics is that it is extremely wide and very shallow, right? So you want to do anything you can to make it narrower and deeper. And one of the ways of doing that is just putting the spouses underneath. Instead of side by side, you just go here, click on that, change the layout option, make it spouses below. And now you've got a chart that is, oh, she had 108 offspring. That's pretty impressive. A little bit narrower, like this, and a bit deeper, which, you know, takes advantage of the paper, right? So you can experiment with that. And another format, which is not as popular, but much more efficient, is left to right. So you do left to right. That was the first version that I came up with, matter of fact. And it's like an ancestor chart, you see? Left to right. See how that works? There's my grandmother, her first daughter. You knew you could move these around, right?
No.
No? Yeah.
That's news.
You can move them around and have fun and you know, have somebody stand out. If you hold down the shift key, you can move just that person or the whole family group, you know, and do stuff. So the left to right orientation will enable you to print the same number of ancestors at the same typeface with less paper. Less paper. And if you want to fit everybody on one page, you click on this button here, which will automatically increase the page size to enclose the entire chart. See, so now it fits on one page, more than one page. Whoops, right, it's on one page. And the advantage here, the benefit, is that you can, actually it should be a little bit smaller than that. You can fit it on a single page. You could put it, save it as a PDF file, and then take it to, write it to a memory stick, take it to a print shop, and have the whole thing printed on one page. It's very, very flexible. Charting Companion has a lot of flexibility in terms of the paper size here. I can customize it to any size I want. You know, you can invent your own paper size. You're not limited, as in many other programs, you're not limited to the sizes available on your printer. You see, okay, it's a little bit too big there. Cool. Now, one thing you can do also is you can prune it. So let's say you want to see the relationship between three people. So you can right click on one person and say, select Evelyn, then right click on Oliver, select Olivier, and you can select, any number of people, select this person. And then you right click one more time and you say prune. And it brings the tree down to just those 2 or 3 people. You see how that works?
Interesting.
Pruning. And so it's a really neat way of showing people. They always want to know, well, how are we related? Showing people how they're related and how they go up. I was telling John earlier that I accidentally discovered that the first cousins that I was showing you there earlier, Jean-Guy and Paul, we are actually related a second way. We are 9th cousins. Because you've probably seen this in your own families, but because we're French Canadian and everybody is descended from the same pioneers, it's in addition to being first cousins, we are 9th cousins, twice removed. And if you count the generations, I'm at the same generation number level as my grandfather. I'm sure you've seen that, but it's kind of cool. Contemporary with my grandfather. So that's the descendant tree. Of course,
See, one
sorry?
of my cousins, McNeely's, I was checking him against someone else in my tree to see how they were related.
Yeah.
It said they were related in over 700 ways.
700. Wow. That's what is that UK background or Scandinavian or Scottish?
Probably English.
English, right. That's extraordinary. That is
Now,
extraordinary.
everybody in West Virginia is related to the other person.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we got the same. Did we ever get Bernie here, you think, John?
Yeah, I'm here. Let me get my.
Oh, Bernie. Okay. Didn't want to miss you. It's okay. You can stay anonymous or incognito.
How do I? I'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. So, of course, there's also the descendant fan chart, which is pretty cool. Most programs do an ancestor fan chart. Oh, these are terrible colors here. Let me change that here. I made the mistake of, by the way, let me take a detour here for a second. Charting Companion supports a feature called the color. Okay. So a couple of things. Charting Companion can display Family Tree Maker colors. So if you're using, colors in Family Tree Maker, Charting Companion will show them. As a matter of fact, this is interesting. Even Family Tree Maker cannot show its colors in its charts. No. They never went there. So, but that's okay because they know we can do it. So this event here, Color FTM, that's just our way of transferring the color over. However, you'll notice there's another event here called Color, COLOR. This is a user-defined event. Do any of you use user-defined events? You know what that is?
Where you can add the color for each ancestor. So, for example, I have mine for showing red for English ancestors, or
okay, no, it's a little.
Scottish. No.
What you're referring to there is the Family Tree Maker colors, and we support that. What I'm referring to is you can invent events like military service, bar mitzvah, confirmation, occupation. You can invent various types of events and give them any name you want. And now Family Tree Maker or whatever program you use has a long list of events, census, military service, and so on. But sometimes you want to invent an event. So what you can do with Charting Companion is you create an event called Color, COLOR, okay? And you assign that event to a person. And then in the places where you would normally have a place for an event, what you do is you enter 3 colors. The color of the the background fill, the color of the text, and the color of the border. So when you generate a genealogy chart, Charting Companion will color it based on the colors you've assigned to the person. Now, this particular color here, I specified it using raw red, green, blue values, you know. So the first color is 141, 214, 107. The second is 000 black, and the third is 108. So, I mean, you can put names here. I could have put red, blue, green there, or aqua, yellow, black. You could put words. It's all documented in the help file.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is when I'm doing my ancestor, what was I doing? Descendant fan chart. I was, I'm using the colors. Okay, and I can't override it. All right, so that's too bad. But that's okay. So layout, I'll go full circle, preview. So the colors you see here are the colors that I assigned explicitly with a COLOR event. And they're not very well designed. The idea was blue was French Canadian. And then there was a color for the Australians and a color for the Scottish. And so here we only see the French Canadian. Anyway, so if you haven't seen this, the way it works is at the center are my grandparents, Constance Cahoon and Alfred Maas. Then at the next ring here, the first ring is my uncles and aunts and their spouses. Then at the next ring here is me and my cousins over there. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you see where I'm tracing me and my cousins. And then at the next ring is our children, my nieces and nephews and children there. And then the great-grandchildren. Now, sometimes you see a person that occupies an entire slice. You know what that is? It's a person that did not marry or did not have issue. So rather than waste a tiny sliver on them, we just run them right to the edge.
Mm.
It's a good way of keeping the typeface legible as opposed to squashing them like here. Because everybody gets a slice of the pie that's a function of how many kids they had. So that's the descendant fan chart.
That's cool.
Notice that the names are right side up on the bottom as well. Jean-Guy Dano and Micheline Kirouac. So that's, any questions on that? And of course, you can make it up to 36 inches in diameter. By the way, here's a riddle. What happens if you divide the circumference of a pumpkin by the diameter of the pumpkin? You divide the circumference by the diameter. What do you get?
Get a pie.
Right, very good. Pumpkin pie. That's very good. I don't know if, well, pumpkin's a big thing, Hillary, in North America with Halloween, you know, pumpkin
No,
pie.
I understand that.
Yeah. I don't like pumpkin pie. I want to show you a neat feature that probably not a lot of people ever discover. And that is, you know how you can publish a chart as a PDF, you can publish as an image, PNG or a JPEG. You can publish as RTF, rich text format, some of them. There's another option. You can publish it as an HTML file, HTML. And so you can publish it as a web page, okay? And here is my grandmother's tree as HTML. So there's my great-grandparents, Cahoons, never left Scotland. And there is my grandmother, Constance, who came to Canada. And over here is there's Violet, who went to Australia, right there. And then over here are the Scottish people who never left Scotland, okay? So here are, in all their glory, my Scottish, for Hillary's benefit here, my Scottish and cousins, okay? There they are. I'm sure you know them, right?
Of course, most definitely, just down the road.
Now, so what's the benefit of a HTML page? Well, First of all, you can upload it to a website, and all you have to do is send your relatives a link to the web page. You see this up here? Right there. That is the URL. You know what a URL is of this page. So I publish it, I upload it, and I share this with everybody that is interested, you know, that contacts me. But so it's a very quick and simple and easy way to send a link. This guy here, Richard Saliba, he works in a vineyard in Australia. Now, in addition, because it's HTML, it's clickable, it's hot, you see? So this handsome fellow there with the beret, he has a web page, a LinkedIn, and if I click on it, I jump to his Facebook page. Look at that. So New Jersey border with South Australia, New Crown County. Anyway, he's in Melbourne, lives in Melbourne, works at Vintage Cellars, and they make wine. So you can see the appeal here of this Facebook thing. There's Lynn, my cousin Louise's doppelganger. So, well, she shut down her Facebook lead. So I had a lot of fun stalking all my relatives here. There's Tanith. She's into horses and German shepherds, I think. Anyway, so look at that. So I'm seeing pictures here. Look at that. Richard found this photo of Arch. Now, all I have of Archie is right there, Archie Edmonston. That's the guy right there. You see that? But all of a sudden, I've discovered this is probably, yeah, that's Archie. Oh my gosh, I'd never seen this. This is fantastic. So the point here is that by publishing your family history as a as an HTML page, if you add the Facebook page, a link to the Facebook page, for example, of all your ungrateful nieces and nephews who don't appreciate your work, you publish it like that, and all of a sudden, this is a great way to keep in touch with people. I can see what my Quebec cousins are doing, and click on them, see what they're up to, and I can see what my Scottish family is doing, and connect with them.
How did you get the Facebook into the person? I mean,
excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. That's very simple. In Family Tree Maker, there is an option called web links. If you, I can't show you now because Family Tree Maker is locked out when it's launched a plugin, but there's a thing called web links.
Yeah.
And it's like an event, it's like a fact, but it has its own special category. So all you have to do is paste the URL of the Facebook page in the web links for that person, and you add it, and it becomes part of their events. And when I'm looking at all the person's events, I can recognize HTTP, and I can say, oh, that's a web link. So what I do is I generate the appropriate HTML and put a link behind it. So it's basically all that's required is for you to put it in the web links. And it's not just
work great.
What's that?
Said the web links work great. I use them all the time.
Good.
So you take the when you create the chart via HTML, you then email that to others that can then post. Is that what review again? You take the HTML chart version and send it to your relatives?
That's one way of doing it. All you have to do, once you've got the chart generated, click on publish here.
Yeah.
And right down here, instead of PDF, just choose HTML right there.
Yeah, but what do you do with the HTML? That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
At that here, what do you do?
The HTML is one file. And by the way, we combine the photos in the file. Yeah. That file, you could attach it to an email.
Okay.
And it's just like a PDF.
I got you. Okay.
A couple of differences. It can be made bigger. A PDF is limited to 200 inches.
Yeah.
In HTML, there's no limit. So you can make like a 400, 500 inch chart. So you attach it. Like once you've saved this HTML, you can go and look at it. You can look at it in your browser, double click on it, and you will automatically, your browser, Firefox, Edge, whatever, will jump on it and display it.
Yeah.
So you can display it yourself. I'm looking for one here. Just looking for an HTML. Oops. Let me sort by type here, see if I got one here. I've got all sorts of junk here that I saved. Please, PNG, Microsoft. Hey, here we go. HTML. Now, do I have a Mantis, AQ, bookmarks? Yes, New York Times. Nah, I don't have anybody here. Sorry. Test bow tie. Test this in a channel. Okay, let's try this here. Okay. Look, you see what I did there? This is HTML.
Yeah.
And I double clicked on it and my default browser automatically opened it and I can zoom in. So it's a file. It's a plain ordinary file. This one is 65K, very small. And we embed the photos in it. It's beautiful. So you can then attach it and email it. So it's even maybe a little bit more convenient than the PDF.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. And the other thing is if you have a website, which anybody can have, is very simple. You can upload this HTML file to your website, and then all you need is to give people the link to it. And they click on it, and bingo, they see your tree, as we are doing in this tree here. So I just sent people the URL of this tree. So it's extremely convenient. So you see, you understand? So you can attach it, attach it to an email, or upload it to your website, and it lives there forever. Very, very convenient. And it's not just Facebook that you can link to. You can also link to LinkedIn or Google Plus back in the days, or anything. It's not limited to living people. You can have websites. You can link your deceased relative ancestors to a website that talks about the battle that they fought in, the village that they lived in, that they grew up in, you know, the house that they lived in, the ship that they crossed over, anything to do with, or the gravestone, picture of the gravestone, anything to do with with them. It's a link, you click on it, and it's very, very convenient because you don't have to be maintaining these images. So, and these pictures are taken from your database. They're shrunk, you get a thumbnail and the database. So this is very, very exciting. So that's the HTML. And it works with, this is quite intriguing. So the benefit is, oh, imagine that. She's not available. That's interesting. Why would she have, that's very surprising. Why would she have discontinued her webpage, her Facebook? I thought all young people had webpage. They're Mary Lou O'Brien.
She might have changed web.
Yeah.
Facebook account.
Might have made it private too.
Does that ring a bell? Toorak, Victoria, Australia?
Yeah, it's down Melbourne way.
You know that. Okay, all right. There's her dad. So shareable, linkable, and enormous. You can make charts. As I said, the HTML is not limited by the 200-inch max for the PDFs, and it's more convenient than a PDF, because a PDF you got to download it, then you got to link it. Sorry, then you open it. The person you're communicating with, they have to download this PDF. They have to wait. They have to till it's downloaded. They have to open it up with whatever. And with HTML, it's instantaneously available. So look at this. She's got 2 daughters. Okay, so I need to, right. So this was taken a few years ago. So now I have to add 2 little boxes underneath here. And as a bonus, you get to follow who's getting married, who's having kids, which allows you to, it's fodder for your database. So that's the HTML. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I might add, if you don't have a website, if you use like a cloud service such as like Dropbox, that's what I use. You can put the file in there and then send people the link.
Exactly.
From your Dropbox. And I mean, other cloud-based, I think you can do the same thing, even like Google Photos and or Google Drive, and I don't know, iCloud might even have the same type of thing, but most
good point.
Most cloud-based services have a way, you can send just a link to a particular file.
Yeah, that's great. I found it very, very beneficial. I get a lot of inquiries from people, and I just say, I've got one for my ancestors, another one for my French Canadian descendant. I just send them a link and I say, here, go to town. And another benefit of this is you could search by name. So if you're looking at here, you know how you can search a web page? So I can go here, I can hit Control F. You know how you can search a web page? And I will enter Welton. Whoops, it's not entering here. Find in page right there. Welton. Oh, I think they're separated. Yeah, there's spaces. There's spacers between them. Sorry. It depends on the chart. Sometimes you can search by name. Yeah, you see there are little spaces in between. They're not contiguous. Anyway, so that's a great feature. I just wanted to, there's a lot of different options. When you're doing the descendant chart, you can show all descendants. You can show just the male lines if you're doing surname searches. You can show only the Y chromosome inheritance for men, the mitochondrial for women, or you can omit spouses altogether. So just for example, the mitochondrial here, it shows who inherited mitochondrial DNA, which is only shared by women, right? So you can see here, Mary passed on the mitochondrial to Ruby, who passed it on to her daughters. Roger inherited Mary's Constance's mitochondrial, but as a man, he does not pass on mitochondrial. Hazel did not marry. Ethel, a daughter, passed it on to her sons, but only her daughter passed it on to her granddaughters and so on. So interesting. If you're into DNA as well, you could do a fan chart showing X chromosome patterns. So I'm going to go to my daughter Melanie here. So if you do a fan chart and you use for coloring, you use the X chromosome option. X chromosome option. And view that, you see, okay, so the colors, you can't override the colors with this here. Okay, it would show up. Let me go with somebody else here. Sorry, I'm going to go with my wife Wanda. Okay. You have a question, Wanda? My wife's looking at me. Wants something. Okay, so we're going to do. Here we go. All right. What's going on here? They're all blue, which is not what I'm looking for. I think it's because, yeah, they all have this color event. I'd have to use a database without that. Let me just. Her mother. Over Blanche. Okay, chart reports. Ancestor fan preview. Oh. All right. I contaminated the whole database with this color thing. Anyway, what it shows, just give me a second here. It shows where the X chromosome was inherited from. I'm going to use another database. Let me just show you the web links. I think I have to go to the person here. Yeah, okay. So here's Family Tree Maker, the person view right there is the web links part. You see how that works? It's like, is that the same level as notes, media, web links?
Okay.
That's where you put the web links.
Gotcha.
Not a lot of people.
Put them on the tree view too.
What's that?
What's that?
You can add the web links on the tree view. That's the way I do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
little.
it's the little globe icon on the right.
Here?
Yeah, right there.
All right. Yes, you're right. Very true.
So,
And then if you want to go back to the document, you just click on it and it opens the document.
Thanks for that tip.
And
Okay.
that also works in Family Tree Maker Connect, which I love.
I'm going to open up another database. that
Or
has no data.
if you want, I've got the X chromosome chart up, but
Oh, you do? Okay, we can look at that. Yeah, okay. Do you want to share your screen?
you got.
Okay, stop share. Okay, all right, stop.
Yeah, because it's yeah. So this
Oh.
is
Excellent. Thank you. So this is a great example where John has both X chromosome colors and FTM colors. So you see the
Yeah.
narrow band at the base of each name. That comes from a family tree maker. So here we have Donald Lawrence Fassbender. He's got a pale blue, a dark blue, and an orange. So he's
Yeah.
got 3 colors, right?
Yeah.
And then Obert Noel Fieldstad has 1 color, dark blue. So that's obviously using a different color for each branch of the ancestors.
ancestors. The pale blue is the cyan. That's the DNA. So someone who's taken a DNA test. My dad's is a reconstructed, but my mom and I have taken the DNA test. That's
Cool.
why we got that.
So you notice, so the colors follow faithfully all the way up the line. And when the printing changes direction, so does the color.
Yeah.
And also so if you know anything about X chromosomes, men have 1 X chromosome, which we inherit from our mother. So John is blue here because he's got an X chromosome inherited from his mother, Janice. Now, Janice, she inherited 1 from her father, Reuben, and 1 from her mother, Dorothy. Reuben, on the other hand, only got 1 X chromosome from his mother, Sophia. And Dorothy Alice, she got 2 chromosomes, 1 from Clarence, 1 from Gladys, and so on up the line. You see how that works? So it's useful in identifying where an X chromosome could potentially have come from. And I would do more if somebody could explain to me what to do with it, but that was fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, about the only thing I found with X chromosome is like if you got an X chromosome match, well, if you're a guy, it's on your mother's side. If you're a woman, well,
Yes,
it doesn't.
it could be one or the other.
It could
That's
be
right.
either or. So
Yeah, that is cool. So that's a good overview.
Yes, very good.
I've got lots more, but 5:30. Just so, and of course, you can also use it to read Roots Magic or Legacy or Ancestral Quest, Family Historian, PAF, and Family Tree Maker as well, and GEDcom, reads GEDcom as well.
yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, sorry. When you downloaded from GEDmatch, how did you do that? Because you've obviously got it plugged into Family Tree Maker. So how did you do that separately?
Okay, so it's 3 steps. First, you download from Ancestry, right?
Mhm.
I think, did you join us after? Were you here at the beginning?
I was at the beginning.
Yeah, she was here at the beginning.
At the beginning, okay. So step 1, you download I'm sorry, once again, I forgot to share my screen here. Going off on a tangent here. Okay, so step 1, you download your raw DNA from Ancestry, right? And it's pretty gnarly stuff. It looks like this. You don't have to worry what's in it. Doesn't matter. Step 2, you upload it to GEDmatch, and they will match you to millions of other people. It takes 24 hours. So 24 hours later, you are now ready to download from GEDmatch. And we have some extensive help on how to do that, some step-by-step instructions, but they change all the time. So, but if you log into your GEDmatch account, there'll be an option there to download the CSV match file.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get that. But what I'm saying is,
oh, okay.
You don't go into Family Tree Maker and
No.
download
okay.
it there. You add it in as a separate.
I jumped a lot of steps there. Thank you. I'm going to go back to that right now here. I jumped a lot of steps. What you do is all you have to do is everyone in your family tree maker that's been tested, you add what's called a DNA marker to them, a DNA marker event, okay? Let's see here. I'm going to show you. Let's take mine, for example, okay? So what you do, it's one of those custom, no, it's a DNA marker event. See right there, DNA kit? I call them DNA kits. There's two ways of doing it. I invented an event called DNA kit for those databases that don't have DNA marker. But if you're using Family Tree Maker, you add a fact, and it's called DNA marker right there. See? Okay. You add that fact, and in the DNA marker zone, you add the kit number. The kit number has been assigned to you by GEDmatch. It's like A123456. So you just add that here, A123456, and that's it.
It's got to be down in the description line.
Yeah, I put it in the date. I'm sorry. Yes. I put it in the date. That won't work, as you saw.
And that's the place.
There you go. In the place or the description, either one, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
So now DNA kit works, as I say, I invented that for programs that had no DNA, built-in DNA event. You can use that, or you can use the DNA marker. They're interchangeable. So that's step one, okay? Everybody that's been tested, you give them a DNA marker event, and you put the kit number, all right? Then what you do is, then once you get into Charting Companion, you tell Charting Companion where the kits are. So I'm going to go to my, you start with the ancestor who includes or encompasses all these people. And you say DNA charts and reports, DNA matrix. And here is a list of everybody, all the match files that I've got, you see? So this is, I've got about 1, 2, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 or 9 of them. And these are the ones that I downloaded from GEDmatch. So these are downloaded from GEDmatch. And what they look like, so this is the DNA matrix tab. You just click on add, go and browse to your CSV match file, and it'll be added here automatically. And you can view it. Oh, that's on my D drive, which I disconnected for this presentation. Sorry about that. But if you clicked on add, you would see the columns and all that. If you're interested, I can find one. Yeah, I'll find one. I'll show you what they look like here. They're under Pierre, DNA, and there we go, like that. Zoom is covering the, okay, open, there we go. And should be able to view it. You're right, okay. So this is what they look like, very simple. This is structured. So they've got multiple columns. In column 1 is kit. So these match files operate on the basis of every line or every row has 2 people that are matched together, okay? And in this row here, kit number A68457, which is my cousin Anne, is matched to her sister Bernice. A different kit number. You see how that works? Yeah. And this is all the DNA. So you can see that they share a lot of DNA, of course, being siblings. You see the same kit number for several rows. Look at that. There's literally probably 50, 60 rows there where it's just Anne and Bernice. And over here is the chromosome number. Chromosome number here, the beginning segment, end segment, total centimorgans. So we add all that together. And you know what I should do here is I should actually generate one of these. Now, I don't want it's going to be a duplicate. Oh, I can't because they're all in the external drive. Sorry. But you would see the blue lines if we did it. Let me just want to show something really, really quick here. By the way, you can define your own match file formats, okay? You can define your own, if somehow you've prepared one through your own means, or Charting Companion doesn't recognize it, you can define each column. You can explicitly assign the role of each column. Now I'm going to just show you something really quick here. Okay, so if you hover, this is an abbreviated version of the chart, but if you, okay, and also I got to remember to undo this chart here, all descendants, okay. I was doing just the mitochondrial. Okay, so there's a neat feature here where you can hover. Okay, there we go. Right. So if I hover over an intersection, it pops up a little thumbnail here, and that is a list of, can you see that? It's a list of all the chromosomes where Louise and her cousin Anne share DNA. You can see that. Chromosome 1, there's a little bit at the beginning, a little bit at the end, 2, 3. You see that?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's really cool. So if you're into, you can actually narrow it down to the exact part of the chromosome. Here's some more matches like that. So if you're into specific segments of the chromosome, you can play with that. And there's another neat feature where if you hold down the control key and start clicking on different people, you get the amount of DNA shared by those 4 people. So look at that. I clicked on all 4 cousins, Anne, Bernice, Louise, Pierre. Look at that. Look at how little DNA they share. Isn't that interesting? Pretty thin. And if I had all the other CSV match files here, which are on my external drive, you actually have a situation where 8 cousins share no DNA. There is no DNA that is common to all 8 cousins. They share a lot of DNA, but different parts. Isn't that interesting, eh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Follow that?
Wow, you've really shown so much new processes for me. I just want to go and play now.
There's a lot of, there's a lots, read the help file. There's a lots to discover and play around with, and no end of
Sometimes
ways.
reading, like the help file's good, but sometimes seeing it in place really
Yes,
puts it together.
of course. Good point. Yeah.
Well, in the Charting Companion users group, in the announcements is a section to the YouTube channel I set up. And that's where this video will be again posted after this meeting.
Good.
I've got a video there of how I set up my DNA matches, how I download them from, of course, the one from Ancestry is kind of outdated now because that DNA match manager file, you can't download anymore. I mean, the website's just gone.
Too bad.
If you really wanted to, I've still got the install file. I can send you a link to it. That's how I download my match files. It's from 23andMe. Used to be the way I download from Ancestry, MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, and GEDmatch. And then now I put those kit numbers because they all got different kit numbers for each company.
Yeah.
And so you'll have some people, I've got like 5 different DNA kit packs,
Yeah, that's Charting Companion will support unlimited number of kits, any number of, 2 people could have been tested many different ways. We'll amalgamate them all into one.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to give you folks a break, and I'm very, very grateful for your time. I love meeting customers, and thank you, John, for organizing this. And if you have any questions, we have our contact us page on our website.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pierre.
So much, Pierre.
You're
That was
welcome.
wonderful. And John,
Yeah.
it's
no
been
problem.
brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.